I think the biggest betrayal you can have in a football dressing room is when players or players' representatives are going to the media to undermine the manager. Honestly, that is unforgivable.
Just amazed at these managers who are unbelievable, yet they can still be distracted or irritated by pundits.
When I left school when I was 16, I never spoke to any of my friends from school ever again.
Wow. Is that a sacrifice of that you just being a
Arsene Wenger's changing training. So I phoned Tony up and said, Tone, what am I hearing, bro? I hate lateness.
There's going to be probably a new owner of Manchester United next week, and there's probably going to be a sweeping changes, and we're going to play a game called Keep, Last Straw or Ditch.
Here we go. Thanks, mate. What's it?
Jesus, what's going on here? You're high maintenance, aren't you?
What, lemon and water?
Yeah.
How's that high maintenance?
It's just this.
It's not high maintenance.
There's lemon. How much lemon do you need?
Did I ask him for that many lemons?
A lot of lemons.
If you get lemons, make lemonade, baby. You got to make lemonade.
Oh, did Snook go the weekend? How did you see it running?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
It was like, good morning, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Shall I take my glasses off? It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like now, I'm really nervous watching him, I was. Really
Yeah, you
nervous.
feel like it's your mate.
Yeah, you feel like, mate, he's in some of them long cuts.
Because he couldn't pot a ball with us. He recovered well, didn't he?
He did, to be honest. Hang on a minute, let me see what happened with the Arsenal. Just got to get them games
I think it's
won.
childish. I think it's really childish what you're doing.
It's funny because
What age are you? You're a grown man.
James Maddison put something on Insta saying he hates the fact that Declan Rice went to Arsenal, and I was literally just looking at it, and then he scored.
He's brilliant. I love Declan Rice, honestly. That's a bit out there for you.
Yeah, it's a little
like
bit
it.
Christmassy.
I like the There's a nice sheen to it, girl. I'm loving it.
Do you know, I've got one big problem at the moment. I'm really living healthily. I'm doing really well. But Joel's big bars of dairy milk. I'm eating dairy milk at night.
You deserve
Well, that's the
you
thing.
deserve a cup of tea and a bit of chocolate, and I always do it.
Gary, if you're going to beat yourself up, use a feather. Keep off the crisps. The chocolate, you're right.
What, you on chocolate? Crisps are not good on that?
No, go easy on the crisps, I'm saying.
Why, what's the crisps? Can I have a bit of that
I
toast?
think the crisp was...
Crisps no good for you?
Obviously not.
No, I know they're not good for you, but they're worse than chocolate.
Saying that, do you know what I like at the moment? Hula hoops. I like my hula hoops.
Salt and vinegar?
No, just the normal,
plain.
normal
I
stuff.
like salt and vinegar hula hoops. Anyway, fashion has been the very top of the agenda this week for you, Ian.
Is it really that size? They're not exaggerating, that's not...
Have you seen the one what they superimposed? I haven't seen this.
All right.
This is the normal size.
That's the normal one?
Yeah.
Who else is in it but you?
We're going to do a Christmas special in 2 weeks, and we've got this idea to do a secret Santa.
Right.
Yeah, you've got to get each of us a present.
I'm not a lover of that present stuff. Getting each other presents.
I don't mind it.
Sorry for children. Christmas is for children.
No.
Adults.
No, Secret Santa's great.
What will you be buying for Christmas? Have you bought anything?
No, I won't be buying anybody anything.
Seriously?
At all?
I just think it's for children.
It's not for children.
It's not for children, it's for...
Jesus,
Do you eat
sir.
turkey on... Is you eat...
Yeah, of course I do. We celebrate it, of course, but we don't go out stressing each other up, buying each other presents.
It's not a stressful
It is
thing,
stress.
it's a beautiful thing.
So, Roy, you will be buying a present this year. £20 is the budget, maximum spend. Don't disclose it yet, Cara. That's a little
It's like
draw.
dynamo, this, isn't it? Getting all this...
Make it secret.
Welcome to Stick to Football, brought to you by Sky Bet, and this week's episode we discuss Pep and the slight criticism of myself and Jamie. We discuss Manchester United's situation, the community questions, and we've got the Super 6 round where we predict the weekend's results. So, woke up this morning, nice and relaxed, go to the gym, and World War III started. Wow. You've had a go at Pep. And Pep...
We will win the Premier League. We will win it, again. So he knows that how difficult it is, otherwise Gary Neville have won 4 Premier Leagues in the best period of Man United. He didn't do it, you know? But not even him, nor even Jamie Carragher, of course, we didn't once, but Michael Richard and all that, and no won 4 Premier Leagues in a row. So when that happened, never ever, no team in England
Carrie, you've decided to go back at Pep and say that you would have won a Premier League title.
That's for talk.
If he was owned by, and if you were owned by a nation state, and if you'd pushed the rules to the point whereby you got charged 115 times. Classy move, that.
You know, so when it
What were you expecting?
No, when it happened, I knew. I said, nah, Jamie will come back with something. And right and all. Why shouldn't you? Is that for me? That's unprovoked. I didn't think it was very. I didn't think you lot were being very harsh on them. You know,
we weren't harsh.
No.
We just said they're a bit complacent this time of the season. It's normal after winning a treble. They've gone up there. They've come down a little bit, and they might go and kick back on in the new year.
Do you think it's because he wants to get that kind of like
I was
togetherness?
Actually, he obviously said that was in the press conference, and it was one for the papers that comes out obviously at 10:30 at night. But I was sent it like an hour or two before. So I was just waiting for it to come out.
Scouse thing, that. He gets the papers at 9 o'clock. They're out for everyone in the country at 10:30, but in Liverpool you get them at 9.
Scouse, we get them a bit early. So I knew it was coming. But no, I thought it was that sort of siege mentality, have a go at someone. I think he said something about the crowd, didn't he, last week? And I think if you go back to this time last year, I don't know if it was exactly the same sort of time, but they played Tottenham at home. They were getting beat 2-0 and then they won 4-2. And he come out and has a bit of a go at people. And I think it's that thing of sort of thinking, it feels to me like he is a little bit worried about Arsenal. The fact he's done that, and he feels like he needs to give everyone a kick up the backside, really. But the only thing as well I noticed, he must be terrified of him.
I mean,
he didn't mention Roy, did he?
No, do you know? I think he's using the word in this press about being complacent. I don't think I said that. I think they're all fit, and I think they're obviously giving bad goals away, and they're a lot easier to play against. But I think that's why he probably was more annoyed with that word.
But do you think they are complacent at this moment? 9 goals in 4 games, dropping
I don't want
points.
to say it now after he said it. No, they're off it a little bit, but
I didn't think it was because of the siege mentality.
I didn't say complacent. Did you?
No,
Did anyone say it?
I did. I said it on my podcast that I think that to me it's what would be acceptable complacency after you've achieved so much. You just step off it a little bit. They're not running back as hard. They're not transitioning as well. They're just making sloppy mistakes. The games aren't as important this stage in the season. They're still in it and they're still there and thinking we'll sort it out in the new year. I just don't think if I called you complacent, that would be a massive insult. If I called you complacent, that would be a massive insult. Complacency is not something that anyone... It's like working hard. You don't want to be accused of poor work, right? You don't want to be accused of complacency because it means you've stepped off the gas and you've gone, I've done it. So I think he's probably spiked a little bit by that, maybe.
but it's also okay for him to be.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's not.
I remember you doing an interview, Roy, after we won the treble, and the year after we got knocked out in the Champions League. We won the league the year after, and we got knocked out by Real Madrid. The year after that, we got knocked out by Bayern Munich, I think, and you did. He's smiling already.
I know what's coming.
Why?
But I remember you doing an interview in that after the post-match of that Bayern Munich game, where you I think the quote went something like, "Some of these players maybe have to have a long hard look at themselves, and maybe it's not for them anymore," or something like that, because they've got Rolexes, they've achieved everything, they've won the treble. You were suggesting. I fucking apple what? But generally, you were suggesting that we, even though we were still winning the league, we'd just come off the gas a little bit. We were complacent. You were suggesting.
Yeah, I remember I said that. Yeah.
Was it a rally cry? Was it a rally cry?
Do you know what? Yeah,
No, it wasn't. It was at the time. You were fuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to get the response, right? Sure.
Yeah, you're trying to. Yeah, sometimes you have to throw a hand grenade into your own dressing room just to give people a reminder what you're about. But it's also hard. It's hard to keep winning every year. And as you said, I think the year I said that we'd still won the league, but obviously it was that. I think we'd probably just dropped off a little bit maybe in Europe. I think I was probably more annoyed with that. But I certainly wasn't doing that every week. But every now and again you feel, again, the captain or certainly the manager can come out and show his feelings.
It feels like Pep, this is the time of year, depending on what they're doing, where he does that. He has a little dig at the fans. He had a dig at Sky and that. So.
And Micah, club ambassador.
I know, Micah.
He didn't even say his name right.
You're out of order, James.
No, but it goes to show even Pep, the pressure the managers are under. We've seen Mourinho come out and have a go at pundits. I'm just amazed at these managers who are unbelievable at what they do, and yet they can still be distracted or irritated by pundits.
Yeah.
especially these big managers, you go, listen.
I'm not sure though. I was thinking about it when I read it. I was thinking Pep hasn't seen that. I think sometimes what happens as a journalist, they'll almost
of course,
just tee him up a little bit. But it seems like Gary Neville said you're complacent.
He may not have seen it, but the press officer at City will have briefed him.
Yeah, of course, Gary. Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
Because it doesn't...
And said you might get a question about X or Y.
Yeah.
And he's heard the word complacency.
Yeah, and he's been offended by it. I think that word is if they've took their eye off the ball or they are relaxing, but as you said, they're just off it a little bit. It's human nature. But none of us were certainly not writing them off, were we?
But I think...
you were the only one, I think, who said you fancy... maybe Arsenal might. We all said City. We all still think City won the league.
I was going to say, I think the thing that you said was probably more of an insult to him, or should be more of an insult to him than complacency, because you said actually that Arsenal, and I've been with Arsenal all season, just feeling that this might just be a year that City could drop off, even though they could go and win it by 10 points. But you said on Sunday, for the first time, I think, that you thought Arsenal could this year win the league, which is it's a new move from you. That's not been said before.
But if you ask me to put a bet, I know I still go with Man City. But if I was in Arsenal's camp, and this was obviously before their result against Luton, you'd be looking at City now, and with the improvements Arsenal have made, you compare their squad to last season, I'd be more encouraged this year for Arsenal than I was last year. Last year I wasn't budging on City. I was City, even when Arsenal were doing really well, and City were having their little poor spell. But this year I'd be like, just I'd be a bit more cautious this year. Whereas last year I was City. Now I look at Arsenal.
What's about Arsenal now? I
just think they're a stronger squad, and obviously City are off it, but City can come back. We've said it before. I think we wrote City off maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Again, they had a derby, they played against United, and they were dreadful, and we felt again, I had a tiger, they lost the hunger, and then they went down and won the league easily. So obviously I wouldn't be writing them off, but I just think with particularly the goals they're giving away.
Why are they giving goals away? You look at their performances in the last few weeks, 9 goals in 4 games. That's so un-City-like. Yeah. What is that down to?
Well, I saw the game, even the couple of goals they gave away in Europe. The way I kind of describe, they just look off it. Off it
in what way?
Not quite pressing.
Not quite pressing. Not quite punishing teams. I know they're scoring goals, but the first half the other night, Haaland missed 1 or 2 chances. Then at the end of the game, they're all upset with the referee. But if you forget all that stuff, Pep getting upset with that complacency, but he will know deep down with his staff. He's obviously, these are brilliant managers that going, look at the goals they're giving away, the chance. I just think the teams who are playing Man City at this moment in time will have, I think, a lot more belief that they can get something, or they certainly can cause Man City problems. Whereas over the last few years, you'd be thinking, if you lose 2 or 3-0 to City, you'd almost take it. Whereas now teams are looking and going, I saw them in Europe during the week, and I know they were already through in Europe. The 2 goals they gave away, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Even when Man City are off it, they're still a brilliant team, but they've just gone into 1 or 2 little...
But things do stand out. Things do stand out. Like, for instance, when you see that first Tottenham goal and when he broke in the middle there, and it's Doku, like we were saying. It's
from
Doku,
their corner.
Yeah, and you think to yourself, it doesn't feel like that would probably be the scenario you'd want if Tottenham broke and it's Son.
But even before that, Righty, on the edge of the box, we've always said City are always Pep's got a habit to foul and stop the team. No, they're just guilt.
I don't think the keeper's been great. He is a great keeper. I don't think he's been great this season. When you look at the stats, save percentage, he's right near the bottom.
Well, the first goal, Jim.
He's got to save that. I also think the lad they've brought in, even though I think he's going to be a good player, I just think he's been okay, Guardiola.
And I think as well down the left side as well, James. So you've got Guardiola.
He's a centre-back playing left-back. He looks a bit awkward.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because them three guys are new guys. And I remember I saw some stats from the Wolves game a while back where Wolves were diagonal ball over onto that left side because obviously them 3 have not quite...
And Rodri missed that game, didn't he? So even when he's come out of the team, they look... really short. I know you're going to miss your best players, and I keep going back to De Bruyne. He's a huge loss to him. But the balance of the team does just look... And I just think the teams who are playing them maybe have a bit more belief that, maybe we could get something at City. Whereas the last few years ago, they'd be thinking, let's just get out here with a 2 or 3...
The Tottenham game should have been done. Yeah. That's the thing. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That should give everybody... Because Tottenham, to be fair to them, they kept going, man. People were thinking, well, Tottenham, are they going to just drop off now and just see if we can just keep them off us? They just kept going.
Yeah,
might as well.
The biggest rivals last year were Arsenal. We felt the biggest threat. And when they played Arsenal last year in the 2 league games and I think the FA Cup, they were so far ahead of them. Whereas this year you looked at Arsenal. So that will give them the belief that they can compete against them and obviously beat them. Whereas I don't know if they had that real belief last year. But I think if you're in Arsenal's camp, you must think, lads,
I'm the same.
Definitely have a chance.
But I think Arsenal not playing well and getting the points they are is a good sign. I think the football will come. Are you yet thinking that Arsenal might do it? Or are you just not moving from?
Oh no! I think they've got a decent chance, and it's just when I've watched Arsenal this season, this time last season, I was probably more impressed with them. This season, I can't quite work out if these last-minute goals are a good thing in terms of like, you've got to score last-minute winning goals to win a title. That's just a fact. But it feels like it's happened so often that those games can sometimes easily go the other way. It just feels like every game has to go to the wire. That's the only thing I'd say about Arsenal watching them this season. I don't know what you think, Wrighty, or the supporters are thinking.
But if you look at the last week, though, I think
it doesn't feel like any game's easy.
But the last 3 games, you look at it, you go, obviously the one at Brentford was a 1-0, and you go, okay, a clean sheet away from home, and it was an ugly game and a tough game. But I always felt they would get a goal that game, and they did. And then even Wolves, you're 2-0 up, you go, they're coasting, but they still got the job done. And then yesterday, and then obviously against Luton, you think they're all over the place, giving bad goals, but still won. So they're winning different types of games, even if it's a bit ugly, and you're thinking, well,
I just think the attacking players, I said this last week, and I think we saw that in the European game, they've just got to come to the fore more a little bit where not every game is going to the absolute last minute.
They might sign a striker in January.
I think if you have those games, you're not even playing well. You've won a 2-0. That's what City do. Sometimes they don't play well. The game's 2-0 after an hour, and the game's sort of finished.
The defensively, obviously, improved a lot defensively. And I found that 14 times last season. I think 14 times in the first 15 minutes, Arsenal scored. So but when they were doing that, it was almost like, they could score, but at the same time, the opponents could score as well, and they've kind of locked that up. I've been quite confident in the fact that we're not going to concede until, like, watching last night's game was really quite worrying. Obviously, our keeper.
But that can happen as well, though.
Yeah, but does that not... They're the 2 things that make me think Arsenal won't. I don't want to get back into the sort of Ramsdale-Ray stuff, but I can't think of many teams, if ever, who've won a league title without a goalkeeper being sort of a big part of it. And I just look at the goalkeeper situation and just think, it just doesn't feel right. And that's the only... I look at the last-minute goals, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing.
It's the goalkeeper at the top end.
That's the one thing that I think...
But then you have the City keeper not been at the best on top of form, so that might just...
Yeah. I like the fact that I know what you're saying, James, about going to the wide. It doesn't feel comfortable. For a while it did, but the last couple of games it did, and even Wolves the other day, you feel if Wolves had a little bit more about them, they could have went at Arsenal. So I felt Arsenal was kind of slipping back a little bit, and then they scored the goal for the mistake. But like last night's one was a worry, simply because I thought we were very much in control of the game. The first goal was a real worry for me because, the marking was such a big side as well. You've got Gabriel Martinelli taking Osho, and you just feel like that doesn't feel right. He didn't even have to get off the ground to head the ball in. That didn't feel good. It just felt, I don't like that. And then obviously the goalkeeper, a couple of mistakes, goalkeeper coming where he couldn't get it, and then the Ross Barkley one, who had a good game, Ross Barkley, by the way. But I like the fact that we kept going in it, because that's what you've got to do. You have to keep playing.
Are you more confident Arsenal win the league this season than you were, say, for instance, at this stage last season when they were playing great football? How do you feel about Arsenal? Will they win the league? Can they win the league?
I think we can win the league. We know that Man City have got a run in them, so you have to win that game. And I think the celebrations showed how important it is to win those games. Because if Arsenal drew that game, especially with the keeper, I think the keeper would have got a load more. If they drew that game yesterday, people would start doing the negativity would start coming.
But Liverpool only got a draw down there a few weeks ago, didn't they? Liverpool only drew. So going to Luton just not maybe easy.
No. Luton done. Yeah, they done well with what they were doing last night. But I still feel that they dealt with a style of play in a nice little confined play. The directness and the set pieces and that, and they dealt with it, and they still adding up to go again. Because we've got a Saka. If you don't get on Saka and you let him cut inside, he's going to curl it to the far post. He's going to pinpoint someone like Havertz. The same with Ødegaard. You're going to give him that much space and you've got people in the box. He's going to put it on someone's head. That's what we've got now, the quality of somebody who, if you give them the space, they're going to punish you.
I think Arsenal's...
4 goals away from home.
Yeah.
And Arsenal's next 2 away games, I think, are Aston Villa and Liverpool. I think if they come out of those with 4 points and 6 points, I think my stance would maybe change, because they're tough away games.
Right, let's talk about winning the league and a team who aren't going to win the league. And we've talked about Manchester United's cultural issues. Nemanja Matic, an experienced player who's at United for a number of years, revealed this week that at Manchester United he had to instigate a fine system due to lateness, and that Pogba and Sancho were the main culprits. In the COVID season, they racked up £75,000 of fines that they were going to spend on a party in London. I'm not quite sure whether I'm most shocked by the fact that they've racked up £75,000 in fines, or that they weren't going to give the £75,000 to the charity or a backroom staff and they were going to spend it on a party in London. But
just paying yourself, aren't you?
What does that tell you? I mean, that's probably... I mean, look, there aren't many players in this last 5 or 6 years that have come out who've left the club. You know, Cristiano obviously did his big interview, but there aren't many players who've come out and sort of give us an insight into the culture that exists at Manchester United. And lateness, to be honest with you, is quite possibly one of the, I think, most disrespectful ways you can, to be fair, disrespect your teammates and your colleagues by making them wait for you. So that's a senior player. Are you surprised by that, Roy?
Well, we kind of knew, we've heard it over the last few years, didn't it? Again, we talk about the culture, the training ground and that being...
But that level of fine, 75 grand?
Yeah, well, whatever about the money, but players just being blasé about it and being late, whatever about the fines and whatever we're doing with the money. But this idea of lads being constantly late for training, it shouldn't happen. Listen, stating the obvious. And then just for it to be... A player can be late for training, obviously, he can be stuck in traffic or a car breaks down, but if that's a regular occurrence, then that's not good.
Come on, man.
It turns my stomach.
75 grand and then you're going to have a party.
But if you even forget about the money, but players just turn up for late for training. They're saying constantly late. These same players.
Yeah, but if you're going to have a party, you're late so you can put the money in for the party. But it looks of things, just like to have a party when, you know, in and around like Christmas, you go to the hospital. You remember you go to hospitals, you see the kids. You know,
but everybody is you could do, yeah, of course. But I think my argument, of course you give the money to charity. Of course, that goes without saying, or you look after some of the staff. But this idea that lads turn up for, do you know what? I just can't. That's one thing I can't get my head around.
Would that have been when Ollie was manager? So you always go for Mourinho, seen as this big disciplinarian, and then Ollie comes in.
It could have spanned the Mourinho-Ollie eras, couldn't it? Like, he's obviously named Paul Pogba and Jadon Sancho.
But do you know what? This is where I always go back to it. I think a really decent dressing room wouldn't tolerate that. Yeah. If a player came in late for training, it can happen. Listen, but if it was the kind of norm, once or twice a week, lads turning up, a group would get hold of them.
You talk about like sort of small detail. Well, it's not a small detail, but in terms of not turning up for training, those two lads you've mentioned, and it's not about picking on them. We probably all say we think
you
got
haven't
real
picked
talent.
On them. Matic was his teammate.
No, my point being is, of those two players, so you're in this culture and it's your way of doing things of like, I'll just come in when I want. Have those players fulfilled really what they should have done on a football pitch? So these little things in terms of being on time for training, being like a good trainer, sort of having that mentality, thinking about football constantly 24/7, it means you get the best out of yourself. Those two players that we're talking about there have not got the best out of themselves as footballers. So the knock-on effects of thinking, I'll just come in 10 minutes late, it's not the end of the world. I think it then goes into your football, it goes into your training. Have you got enough time between when you come in to when you go on to training, to whether you need to see the physio? Have you had a massage? Have you been in the gym? Are you ready to train? These are just these small things that happen every day that then have a knock-on effect season after season. That means players, and I know people will say Paul Pogba won a World Cup, but Paul Pogba's talent means he should be sort of classed in probably the sort of top 10 players year in, year out, maybe going for a Ballon d'Or. He hasn't been. You know, where is he? He's now, he's banned from playing at Juventus. He didn't do nothing at Manchester United. He's going to be a player remembered for not basically fulfilling his potential, and it's the knock-on effect of these things of, you know, late for training, not being professional enough. That's where it comes from. It's obvious
though, Jay, when you look at a team that's won things consistently, continually over the years, you never hear stories like that. You won't have that because, like you say, the dressing room will sort that out. So, you know, it's sad to hear because everything you're saying about them players.
But we're not surprised. We're not surprised. Well, and about the couple of lads who've been mentioned.
It's a shame.
It'd be different if you mentioned some other players. You go, he's late. I'm surprised. But not the lads who have been mentioned. It's kind of well documented that these lads aren't great professionals. But if this was the norm, and if they're just not the only two, I just can't believe how a club or a culture or a manager or a staff or senior players can let that happen in a club. It just, all that stuff cannot
but who at the time was going to say something to Pogba and in that Man United dressing room?
There's a problem in itself if you can't speak to a player properly.
Who's going to do it? Because
I remember being late once. You may remember it when I was coming in. Do you remember at Carrington?
I do, Gary.
I was late once in 20 fucking years, right? and I got stuck in horrendous traffic. I mean, I was never late. I was there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I mean, I was ringing up. I was frantic. And they're all banging on the fucking coach window. I'm racing around the car park. Honestly, I was absolutely devastated. Just the standards that I'd set, the times that if anyone else was late, I'd criticise people, I'd scream, you know what I mean? Because I think it's one of the most disrespectful things you can do is make your teammates wait. Of course, not working hard and all those things go without saying, but if everyone's waiting for you, the coach is waiting for you, the training practice is waiting for you, that just doesn't happen. You can't be that person in life. You just can't be.
I remember I remember listening to Tony Adams. He's on a show, and I could see the show and how Tony was going. It started to get a real laddie, and then Tony told him a story about George Graham and then Arsene Wenger having to change training because of my lateness.
Yours?
Yeah, right. And we're talking about George Graham, right? So what Tony's implying is that I'm late. I'm so late, so many times.
Oh, you were happy with this story, were you?
So late, so many times.
Were you?
What?
Were you late all the time?
No! That's what I'm trying to tell you now.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm trying to give it context. So you're going to say to me that I'm late, that George Graham's changing training. Arsene Wenger's changing training. So I phoned Tony up and said, Tone, what the fuck am I hearing, bro? What are you talking about? Oh, right, you just got a bit laddish. You know what I mean? I said, Tone, that sticks. Because if you see, we're talking about.
So it just wasn't true.
No, I had to listen.
He's a bit of a Tom Pepper, is he?
No, it's just that Tony. You just.
Were you ever late, Ridey?
Listen, I wasn't late. I wasn't late.
Late.
And I had to come.
I wasn't late.
No,
late.
no. I wasn't late where people were waiting on me. Right. I was not late like that. And I had to come like it was 70 miles. I used to come from Croydon all the time and go up to St Albans. I used to leave every morning, all the time, on time, because it's one of the things I wanted to make sure that I was punctual. It's one of the things I hate more than anything else. So when I heard that, I was devastated, and I had to speak to him, and he said, yeah, I'm really sorry in that, because I don't want that story out there, because that is not what I'm about, man, with the lateness. I hate lateness.
You were late for lunch one time in the Euros with me, do you remember?
No.
It's a brilliant story, this. It's amazing, this. It wasn't the Euros, it was the World Cup in Russia.
It was in Russia.
And you went into the bath.
Can I give you the context of this? He said afterwards he was a minute late. He was about a half an hour late.
I wasn't a half an hour late.
Ridey.
And Roy, what did you do? He then rang you.
He wouldn't come down.
Just leave it.
He wouldn't come down. He wouldn't come downstairs.
What did he do? Go in the bath?
I must have been 6 minutes late.
Right. So it wasn't 1 minute late.
So you've come down to reception.
So I said, Roy, I'm here because I had to go somewhere to do something. Then I came back. I was like, Roy, I'm here, man. Come, let's do it. He said, no, righty. No, righty, no. That's not how it works, no. So I was like, I said, Roy, it's 7 minutes. It must have been 12 minutes, man.
There we go. It's getting higher.
But I was coming from Russia. I was in Russia. Coming from Russia. I was in Russia trying to find my way back. And I was rushing to get back to him. Man said, no, bro.
I was in the bath. I was having a bath.
I'm trying to think of a time where you'll probably say no, but do you ever remember yourself? You must have been late.
I was late. I was late, yeah.
Through what was that normally? When did that ever happen where you were out of order and you know?
No, I was late. I remember even when I first signed for United, but I still had my house up in Nottingham. And I went up to watch a reserve game. I'd been at United a few months, went up to watch a reserve game. I thought I'd go for 1 or 2 drinks after the reserve game, but we were trained the next day, obviously, at United. I think I woke up around... My plan was to come back that night, but obviously everything's subject to change. I woke up in Nottingham that morning about 9:30, and I got to train for about 12, and obviously Ferguson was going mad.
Did you get fined for that?
Yeah, do you know, I don't think he fined me for that. I think I came
long
in,
by then?
No, I'd only been there a few months. And I remember coming into the training ground and the lads were walking off and I came in and Ferguson, he pulled me and I said I was up in Nottingham. And I think we were playing West Ham on the Saturday. And obviously he gave me a bollocking as he does. And but I think he played me and I think I scored on the Saturday again. That bit of guilt kicked in. So yeah, and it wasn't the only time I was late. I think I was late once or twice not for training, but maybe for functions.
I remember the story.
With Ireland maybe. We were late. I was late for the bus a couple of times when I was with Ireland maybe.
What about this? It's just come to me now. When you were manager of Sunderland, you leave 2 players in the training ground.
Yeah, no, they were.
They were late for the bus and you went.
But again, to be fair, again, all that story. But we waited 45 minutes from.
Wow.
Stuck in traffic. We did wait. We kept waiting when I went. We can't wait any longer. They were obviously stuck in traffic. But again, I think it was 3 players. 3 players we left behind. But again, the story is but the next morning I pulled them in and said, no problem, never find them. And they were back in the squad the following week.
Okay.
But we couldn't wait for them. That was a genuine... I wasn't even that upset with them. They were stuck in traffic. But how long do you wait for players? And I think we did wait certainly half an hour, 45 minutes for them. So
you waited longer for them than Righty?
Exactly.
Yeah, but they were more important to me. They were. But we left and they never got involved in the squad. And that was down. We were away at Barnsley with Sunderland. Again, you're trying to put a marker down. And I think I called a couple of young lads up and we went to Barnsley and we managed to win the game anyway. So it was
nice.
1 all round, really.
I just want to cover the banning of journalists story. Obviously, United in the last 24 hours have banned 4 journalists from ESPN, Sky Sports News, The Mirror and the Manchester Evening News from press conferences. Obviously, we played for a manager who did that on occasions as well. What do we make of that? Is that a sign of pure crisis of them basically or is it a sign of them trying to get a grip? Obviously, the stories broke on Monday and Tuesday that basically players weren't happy with the manager. We've heard it before now, I think probably 4 or 5 times in the last 10 years. It felt like Groundhog Day, and the club have obviously bitten back because I spoke to the club this morning. They've said it was a joint decision between the club and Erik ten Hag. So Erik ten Hag was across it. He was happy that the journalists got banned, and the reason they were banned was because they didn't come and validate the story and give Manchester United an opportunity to put their side of the story across. Is it a sign of United losing control even more, or is it a sign of good leadership that they ban journalists? Where are you at with it?
I think for me, it's just another scenario with Man United where it's got nothing to do with football on the pitch. It's the outside noise what we're focusing on with Man United. I don't know why they would stop them, especially when you mentioned about the Manchester Evening News they're meant to be quite nice publication.
It's the local paper,
right? So I feel, for me, it just feels again like it's another distraction kind of thing. It's another distraction.
But isn't it? There is a thing in football, though. Decent people do get in touch. You say, this is going to be... Do you have any I think there should be a bit of respect between the media and obviously United's media. So I think they're upset with the fact they've not touched base with them.
To ban them,
I think if United win the next couple of games, you go, no big deal. But if United's poor run continues, then I think that...
Doesn't it bring the heat on more?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Is the story about them losing the dressing room? Is that the
story is that the players are unhappy with Erik ten Hag. He's lost half the dressing room and they're not happy with the signing he's brought in.
So, listen, I'm not trying to sort of defend the media so much, but what are the club going to say? So we go to the club, we've heard this story, what are the club going to say? They're going to say it's not true. They're not going to say anything else.
Exactly. But I suppose, Jamie, they'd probably say at least we have a chance to come back with something.
But I mean, the press office is not going to say yeah. They all hate him.
But what it's created more headlines. Because there's always stories every week about Man United, about the dressing room, or players being late. So then when you start banning people, and
I wouldn't have done that, Gal. I don't think I would have done it, because what more are they going to say that's any more damning than what we're seeing with United and the way they're playing? I can't, maybe the fans might be happy that we're together and we're going to fight this. But like, other than that, what more can they say about Man United and how poor they're playing that's going to, for them to ban them?
But we were stopped.
We were stopped. Come from it.
You must have been stopped at speaking to certain media when we were players at United. Where was it, BBC?
Well, that happened with us,
yeah. It happens.
But do you think that story actually damaged Ten Hag? Because I think a lot of people looked at that and thought players.
No, do you know something?
I think it actually made people think, you know what, he's got a right rabble in there. I didn't make me think, Ten Hag's lost the dressing room. I almost went against the players in my mind.
I've been soft on the players for 12 months because I've concentrated on the rotten environment, the ownership. I think there's difficulties at the club for the players to succeed just with everything that's around them. I don't think anything's right or a lot's not right at the club, and hopefully new ownership will sort that out. But the things that we've heard from Matic in the last couple of weeks or last week about lateness is something that, to be fair for me, just riles me. But I think the biggest betrayal you can have in a football dressing room is when players or players' representatives are going to the media to undermine the manager and other players in your dressing room. Yeah. That is fucking unforgivable. So for me, I concentrated on Monday and Tuesday. When I heard these stories coming out, I thought, here we go again. The fuckers. They're at it. They're going to try and get another manager sacked. Yeah. They're going to try and get another group of players thrown out. They're going to try and get the teammates sort of banished. And then it's happening. You can tell it's sort of been fed. And I thought, stop whinging. Shut your mouths. Work as hard as you can. And the day after, come back and do it again. And that's it. You know what I mean? I have got some sympathy with them at the moment, with the club and how it is and what's going on at the club and the continual poor recruitment, the continual sort of negativity, the continual bad ownership, lack of sporting department, lack of all the stuff they've got. I've given them a pretty easy ride, but I've got no sympathy at all for them if they're leaking stories or they're being late. They're the two things that for me...
When you used to be there, you were that successful. And listen, whatever you think of Alex Ferguson, he had so much power. He was just, I used to sort of look at Manchester United and think, nothing ever comes out. No story. It was just like, obviously, great dressing room. That manager just almost felt like not just ran Manchester United, but ran a lot of football and things wouldn't come out. And I was at a club where I don't think there's any other club like Liverpool in terms of how the supporters treat a manager. The manager at Liverpool is like a god. He's always, if Liverpool is successful, it's always the manager. It's not the players, of course, but it's always like, right now it's Klopp, it's Shankly, it's Paisley, Dalglish, all these figures. So the manager at Liverpool has got so much power, I always feel. So those things at Liverpool, when I was there, never really come out or against the manager, because the supporters and the board would always be really with the manager. It wouldn't be a case of speaking to the players, what do you think of the manager? That would never happen. So these type of things never came out. I mean, was it different at you at Arsenal? You had a few problems maybe with Bruce Rioch when he came in, or different people?
No, the thing with the Bruce Rioch one, that was like, that was
just you, right?
He got him out.
The thing with Bruce Rioch.
He's late and he gets managers out.
No. The thing with...
He's worse than Pogba.
No, the thing with Bruce Rioch is that we just didn't get on. It was just straight from the off. It was just like we didn't
get on to start with, but we built our relationship over time.
To be honest, I remember seeing...
Yeah, but that wouldn't make you not want to play well.
No, because I did. I played as hard as I could.
How many goals did you score that season for him?
I think probably at 23.
Oh, wow.
Lads, this is the bit I don't get. We're talking about managers and issues at the club, but I still don't get how a player still can't turn up. Even if my experience, if I fell out with my disagreements with McCarthy, but this idea that I wouldn't go out and turn up and give my all for the team.
Yeah.
I just can't understand how a player or a team can still not, even if there's issues with the manager or he's not up to it or he's short or personality clashes.
Not you, but you, because we played at a club that, to be fair, did have sort of quite a resilience about it, but you'll have managed teams, and I've seen it with England and probably, to be fair, saw it in Valencia, where a group of lads that are good lads that you think they do want to do their best, but they're just overweighed by the sort of what's happening, the negativity, the lower confidence, and then the legs feel heavy and they look like they're not trying. I have seen that myself with England under Kevin Keegan in the Euros, where and everyone just felt so sluggish and sort of like, I have seen teams, I think there's a bit of that United where it's not just a case of lads don't care.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, there's lads at Man United who care, obviously, and there's lads who are probably brilliant professionals. There's no getting away from that. But if there's enough numbers there who are not turning up properly and not training properly or giving snippets out, then that will drag a kind of a dressing room that's struggling anyway.
But the thing is, what I was going to say with the real is that it was everybody knew that me and this guy was at loggerheads. You know what I mean? It wasn't leaky stuff, because that's one of the things we used to...
Yeah, not leaky. You weren't leaky stuff about him. You were just having battles with him.
Yeah. And
battles why, right? Were you, because he wasn't playing yet? Or
no, he was playing. It's just like... This guy, he'd start an argument with me in training. But
is that to motivate you?
Well, it's not even a case to motivate me, but I remember we played against St Albans.
And he came in after George Graham?
Yeah.
Right.
So we're playing at Bournemouth. I think we're playing against Bournemouth or St Albans, one of those two. And it's at the start of the season where you're just
Pre-season.
you're getting fit, and loads of people are there. They don't see this. I'm playing Dennis Spillane. I think Dennis's first season. So there's loads of people there, and it's not like I'm playing the pantomime villain. But I'm not. I've missed a couple of chances. But the main thing for me then is getting the touch right, getting everything. I come in at half time. And remember, this is my first football match with the guy after the training session. And he says, what are you doing? What are you doing here? Like giving it a big time Charlie. That's what he said. And to the point where I thought, I've never been accused of that. And I thought he was joking. And I said...
That $2,000 coat you were at the
I thought he was joking to the point where, where you started looking around. And I remember I looked around and Tony went like that. And I went... You're taking a fucking piss. What are you talking about? I'm trying to get fit here. What am I supposed to do here at St Albans? I'm trying to get fit. People, I'm having a laugh with the people because, you go and pick the ball up, they say, right, and you have a laugh with me. But I'm playing. And that's where it started. So right from the start, it was like that. Then all of a sudden in training, man's tackling people like he's in his last-ditch tackling the World Cup in training. You know what I mean? So then we'd have an argument. We squared up a couple of times because remember he had a problem with that player. In Torquay, I think he had a fight with a player, and I remember we got to a point where just a couple of times we were nosing. You know what I mean? Because I thought...
Well, he'd done you, wouldn't it?
You know something? The thing about it is, guys, it's not even a case... Now I think of it, he probably would have, but it's the kind of thing...
But you not think when he came in, he was... Your first game, for example, I know it's only pre-season, I've been a manager going, you're trying to motivate, would it be a Sunderland or... Is he just trying to put a marker down?
I don't know.
He got it wrong, he read it wrong maybe. And
is he trying to show you're the top man of the club?
Maybe.
No one else can sort of mess
That's what I think, Jamie.
Yeah.
I've been a manager. Sometimes, obviously, managers make mistakes.
I think, you know what, the thing is, right, I remember when I left and I went to West Ham, was playing in a reserve game for West Ham, went down to Norwich and he was there. I remember I came off at half-time and there's a knock on the door and he came in. We had a great chat.
Right. Well, that's...
We had a really good chat about it, and you know what I mean? It was one of those, he said, I made a lot of mistakes. I said, listen, I made a lot of mistakes, self-disrespectful in some of the times, but you've got to understand, I was just giving back. I wasn't somebody that was just coming in and giving him... I put a transfer request in, because I believe Arsenal they wouldn't have got rid of him. So I put a transfer request in because I said, this can't happen because it's now starting to affect the lads because mine and these arguments and the way it was. So I said, you know what, put a transfer.
Was that though from you though, or you or him? Choose me or him? Was that in that?
It wasn't a choose you or me. I genuinely thought I'm going to leave because I didn't think Arsenal would ever have got rid of him because that's not what Arsenal done. Look how long they had George.
Right, we're going to play a game that probably you may have played before in a different guise. So there's going to be probably a new owner of Manchester United next week and there's probably going to be a sweeping changes. We're going to play a game called Keep, Last Straw or Ditch.
Okay.
I'm going to read out the players' names.
Oh, Jesus.
And the manager's name.
Here we go.
What were the options?
Say the options again.
Keep, Last Straw or Ditch. Right, the first one, we have to obviously start with the manager. The new owners are going to come in and they're going to obviously make it in. Eric Ten Hag.
Last straw.
Yeah, probably.
Keep.
Ditch. I'd get rid of him.
Oh, wow.
I'd move him on.
What reason?
Well, to be honest, I think that when I look at the way Man United are playing, I think you only have to look at like Ange and the way he's changed things so quickly in a pattern of playing and how they want to do certain things. And I still haven't seen that with United up to this point. So it's what I'm thinking. With everything what's gone on, James, you want to see how long's he been there now? What are we talking?
18 months.
18 months, right? Come on, man. We should be seeing a certain way that Man United are playing that they should be controlling games and winning games now. So I probably would.
I'm gonna go keep, but on the basis that there needs to be an immediate sort of turnaround.
Yeah, so last straw.
The keeper last straw. Straw. Give me straw.
Listen, no messing around the answer. Give the answer.
I'm gonna say keep. Okay, Anana.
Oh, last straw.
Last straw.
I'm last straw.
Well,
because you don't get keeper right. If he obviously gave him to the end of the season,
I'd keep him, but like
keep him to the end of the season, wouldn't
you? Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Keep.
Okay, Lindelof,
gone, out.
I'd move him on. They need better.
Yeah, I'd probably move.
And I would move him on for him and for the club because he needs to play football as well. He's hardly playing. Harry Maguire,
move on.
They need better. Move on.
Yeah, I'd probably move on for his own sake, really.
Was move on the right way? What is it?
So it's keep, last straw or ditch?
Ditch.
It seems harsh.
I know. Can you say move on?
Yeah, we'll say...
I transfer him and give him a big payoff. No, I'm going last straw because I want to see him. I want to see him under a new ownership. Yeah.
You know something?
I've seen Harry Maguire play well for England. I've seen him play well.
Yes, I like it, Gal.
Well. I want to see him. I want to see him have one last chance.
I'm going with you, Gal.
Okay, Lisandro Martinez.
Go keep.
Yeah.
Keep.
Yeah, keep.
Keep. Rafael Varane.
Out. Gone.
Out.
Move him on.
Yeah, move
him on.
Yeah,
move him on.
But, Diego Dallo.
Ditch.
Move him on.
No, keep him.
Keep him?
Yeah.
I would, last straw, I'd have him as a second right back.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Shaw.
Keep.
Last ditch.
Last straw.
Is it?
Last straw.
Last ditch.
Last ditch sounds better.
Last straw.
Last straw.
I'd keep him.
I'd keep. Johnny Evans. Johnny probably wants to
I'd
leave.
keep.
What's going on here?
Are you going through every player here?
Yeah.
I thought he was just giving us a few options on 6 or 7 players.
No,
Keep
I like
Johnny,
it. I like this.
Squad player.
Yeah,
Squad player.
exactly, James.
Last straw.
Johnny,
he shouldn't be playing. He's playing too much.
You know, Man United, 11
I like
Man
Johnny.
United.
Johnny was injured all last year at Leicester.
Yeah.
He's picked up.
Johnny has to leave. Johnny has to leave, doesn't he? I mean, he can't be. Yeah, he'll know that.
Yeah.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Last straw.
Last ditch. Last straw. I think they need better.
Yeah, I'd keep him.
You can't. You can't get rid of everybody, can you?
No, last straw.
no.
Amrabat.
Oh, ditch. He's not good enough.
Move him on, maybe. He's just.
I'd probably move Amrabat on as well. It's easy for me because
I'd move
Man
him on.
United player.
I'd move on. Mason Mount.
Keep.
You'd have to give him a chance.
Yeah.
Keep. Christian Eriksen.
Move him on.
Move him on. Need better.
Yeah.
United have got 4 players. Casemiro.
Oh, move him on.
I'll still keep him. Maybe a different environment, new owners, whatever.
I'd keep him. Depending on who's next to him, I'd keep him.
Maybe.
I would go last straw. Kobe Menu is a keep, obviously.
Yeah.
Scott McTominay.
Last straw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last straw.
Last straw. Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah,
Keep.
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 Can't get rid of him.
Anthony.
I'd get rid of Anthony.
I'd get rid of Anthony.
Yeah, move him on.
Yeah, I'd move Anthony on.
I would move him on.
Yeah.
Martial.
Oh, jeez.
God almighty.
Is he still there?
You know something? It's such
Why
a
do you
sad
think he'd
one.
left since Sunday?
You know
Honestly.
something? It's one of the saddest things because his emergence and what he's done since then is nothing, man. The man's done nothing. So you have to say you've got to move him on. But Mourinho wanted to.
Yeah.
They went crazy, didn't they?
They were frightened to death of him going somewhere and doing something. They were frightened to death because he's got that little bit of talent. That every manager's had the same problem with him. They've all been like, is he going to come and hurt us? That's when you just, it's the, Anyway, Marcus Rashford.
Keep. Yeah, I'd keep Marcus.
Roy.
Last ditch?
Sure.
Your last ditching? I'm keeping him. I think he needs someone else.
I wouldn't be sure about Marcus.
What you're not sure about in terms of keeping?
His package, the whole package, the personalities, his mood swings. He's a talented player, but if you're not going to work hard and he's having these dips every now and again, there's always talk about his confidence off the field stuff. It seems to be constant with him. Just turn up every week and do the business.
You don't think that another manager might be able to come in and get him?
You said something at weekend that you thought a local player.
It's brilliant as well.
A local player should stand up more in times of difficulty than anybody else in the club. I agree with you if that local player is that type of personality. But let's say it was Michael Owen at Liverpool, who was a local player coming through. And Marcus, I think, is a little bit like Michael Owen's personality. If they're not that type, they could actually go under. I think they could go under more than the actual player. You know, Michael Owen would not lift Liverpool if you're in a bad moment.
I'm talking about lifting them. He might lift them with his goal, with his something. It just...
With his energy, bro.
Yeah, making runs in behind. It's not a case of... You know, we, especially us three, are probably that different type of character. You'd see us shouting at the referee or arguing.
But Marcus isn't like that, is he?
No. So what I'm saying is, constantly making runs in behind, running back. It's just running.
Look at Saka.
We're not asking a lot.
Saka's not like that. Arsenal sees Saka like that. When Saka, a couple of years ago, Saka and then Emma Smith-Rowe were literally dragging the club through. Them two young players come from the... That's what it's about. It's like Saka's not the person who's running and shouting about the play, but Saka recognises.
Okay. Marcus is 26.
Yeah.
He's 26. He's got to... When's the penny going to drop for him?
Yeah. Jadon Sancho.
Go.
Yeah, I'd move Jadon on.
Go, I agree. And finally, two players finally, I don't think there'll be much disagreement on these two. Højlund.
Oh, keep.
Give him a chance.
Keep.
Yeah, keep.
Yeah, and Garnacho.
Yeah,
Give
keep.
him a chance. Yep. He's a talented player, yeah.
OK, that finishes that first half. We've now got our Super Six, and we'll find out whether you've been more successful. You're struggling badly.
What's stressful? Are we?
Well, I think you look like you were
we weren't
behind last
last.
time I was there. You know what I mean?
No, it was demoralising
right,
last
here we
time.
come.
Done better.
Where's David McGee? Welcome to the Super Six predictions round. We're well ahead, me and Cara, of Wrighty and Roy. They're struggling with it a little bit, but no one won last weekend. The City Spurs result, I think, ruined it for everybody. So that means there's going to be a £500,000 rollover.
Oh, here we go. I think we done all right.
I hope so, because I've been thinking about it, for Christ's sake.
We'll find out. Come on, Ben.
Right.
I got time here.
This is my one moment. Right, Gary, you beat over 1 million players, and you got 11 points.
Not bad.
Last week, which is good.
Gary and Jamie.
And Jamie. Jamie. And
That's
Roy.
decent.
Roy, you got 14 points.
Oh, wow.
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 I think we
back.
top
Top
2%.
Bro.
We're back. I told you, we just got to hang in
There you
there.
go. So, yeah.
Complacent,
He
you
did.
see.
He's having
He got complacent.
Look at their faces.
Have you ever won 4 in a row? you never win a league.
Hey, what a difference.
Come
that
on. Oh, yeah.
So there you go. Right.
Right.
I think we just missed out 1 or 2 others as well, didn't we? We were close at 1 or 2 others.
Right.
Really well.
United have got to beat Bournemouth Saturday, Carragher.
Yeah.
2-1. It won't be easy.
You go
They could go.
You
They could
go first. You go
Yeah,
first. You go
Yeah,
first.
but they could have one of those games where they go and do something.
Yeah.
Concentrate this.
3?
Yeah. Yeah.
They concede usually, though, don't they? They usually concede, don't they?
They won't.
Hey, what helped them?
I'd go 2 or 3-0, mate. 2-0, I'd say.
2-0.
2-0 United.
2-0.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay.
You're on.
Oh, you love a 2-0.
Bro, I don't think United are beating Bournemouth.
What?
I don't.
You fancied Everton to beat United?
They should have.
Hey, they should have done.
They
If
should
they
have.
scored 2 before half time, they
You know
would.
what? I just trust my feelings.
If they scored 2 before half time,
You've got
Yeah,
the-
they'd have been a ball
you always
chicken
have the
beyond
last say. You always have the last say. But my gut feeling says I don't feel it, bro.
If they lose to Bournemouth on Saturday, you've got a problem.
I think 2 or 3-1 to United.
To be fair, with what we've just done, they've got no players.
Bournemouth should beat them. Yeah, go on then. Let's go 2. I think
Hey,
Bournemouth will
Bournemouth.
score a goal.
Yeah.
You think?
Go 2-1. 2-1? 2-1 to United.
Go on,
Come on, we're up
go
and
on,
running.
go
now.
on,
Just-
No idea.
Who's that? Brighton?
Brighton.
You're on. Brighton, West Ham.
Burnley.
That's Burnley, bro.
That feels
hell.
like it's a different batch.
Every week.
No.
Every week I'd get that wrong.
Brighton there.
I think they tie with them. 3-0? 2-0?
Yeah.
2-0.
2-0's a good.
2-0.
Do you know the most disappointing things in the world? A pip in a Satsuma.
Yeah, I agree.
You think?
I think it's a big disappointment.
No.
Yeah.
I think the seeds in the grapes now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, what are we going for here?
Sorry, Annie.
Brighton win definitely.
Don't be-
Yeah.
3-1.
Yeah.
3-1.
Did you fancy 3-1? You fancy?
Yeah, he likes that score bet his own.
Go 3-0.
We're on.
Good.
Sheffield United, Brentford.
Oh, new manager. Oh, new manager. Oh, lads.
At home,
You might just make it. Just.
Oh, no
You got to win
chance.
sometime, aren't it?
Oh, Brentford.
Not Brentford, bro.
Brentford.
You going for Sheffield United?
No, but I'm just thinking.
Set pieces.
Beat Sheffield
I always
for
say
their
that.
home, the crowd,
Yeah.
Chris Wilder's
Wilder.
back.
Yeah.
Is it a 1-1?
Why do we go for a Sheffield United win?
Yeah.
A bit
Yeah,
bold.
think outside
Yeah,
the
go-
box,
yeah,
lads.
go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Brilliant.
saying. You
Brentford
stuck
win.
me, haven't you?
If they win, it'll be 1-0, won't it?
Go on, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, more than one.
There's no way. There's no way
No.
that's happening. Brentford are beating them.
Do you think so? Well, go on, Righty, I'm with you.
I'm gonna go 2-3-1 to Brentford.
You go, eh? Go with it, whatever.
3-1 Brentford.
Brilliant. Hey,
That's
that's it.
what we're
I'm with you.
team.
Aye,
Buy me a
absolutely.
present, by the way, in the Secret Santa.
Me.
Jamie.
Here we go. Hey, this is you
What?
now. Villa,
What you want?
come on.
No.
You got an insight.
Oh, this is tough. This is tough. Remember, Villa will have played a tough game on the Wednesday night.
Against
Arsenal have had an extra day's rest.
Yeah.
Everything's fallen for them, isn't it?
what time kick-off is this?
5:30.
On Saturday.
On Christmas.
Bolt ends will be up.
I need to adjust my Christmas shopping.
Everyone always goes mad about the night games. Oh, it's under the lights.
I need to adjust my Christmas shopping time in London.
I think there's a draw.
Our Christmas shopping on
Fancy
London.
Villa, I
looks
can
like
see
that.
it
It's
now.
what's that?
No, I fancy Arsenal.
What time's selfish?
I think if Arsenal win there, that's a massive
Yeah.
result.
You know, it's
And then they'll take a draw at Liverpool.
Is
They'll be
that a
happy.
2-1, 3-2-y?
Yes, something like that, yeah. Under
go
the
for-
light. Oh, yeah, under the lights.
I'm gonna go. Should we go
Christmas
3-2?
hats.
Let's go 3-2 Arsenal.
You
then.
gonna ask?
Is that too much? or
Selfridges.
2-1.
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal.
What do you think here, Villa?
Selfridges
Arsenal.
Saturday, London, opening
Villa
time.
Look at him, look. What are you doing here?
Villa
Selfridges
flying at home,
opening
aren't
time.
they?
I need to watch that game, then go shopping.
That's a different type of game,
Exactly.
innit? And set
That is-
pieces.
Oh, it's open till 10 o'clock at night. I can watch that till 7:30 and then go
Brilliant.
shopping
Then
for
you
2
can
hours.
go out.
Amazing.
Brilliant,
Good,
great
good.
news.
See you in Selfridges Saturday, everyone in London.
What's your budget, Gary?
I don't know.
You do know, is it?
I don't know. I just
10k,
it's a
10k,
feeling. It's a
innit?
feeling. 10k.
It is 10k, guaranteed.
I was thinking about that jacket to start with. That's 2k. Right. Okay. Aston Villa. Oh, we're going Arsenal. Yeah. I'd go 3-2.
2.
Would you? Or do you want to go a bit more tight games? Arsenal tied up.
I think Villa are a good side.
Villa's record of home lads is amazing.
Villa fans-
1-1 then?
Amazing.
1-1.
Yeah, good shout.
1-1.
Good shout.
Brilliant. We've got that one.
Yeah.
Right, so it's now Luton City. That's a City win, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, man, Luton.
Yeah.
You see what problems Luton can cause?
3-1. 3-1 to City.
Yeah.
You're giving them a goal.
Yeah, I'd go.
Set piece.
I think 2-0 City.
Yeah.
2-0.
3-0 City.
Tightest pitch.
No, City.
3-0 and 3-0 City.
Cross going in.
2. Spurs Newcastle.
That's a brilliant game.
That's a tough game.
That's a
I'm
tough
watching that. I'm doing that game.
Is that us first or is that you lot?
That's us.
4:30 Sunday, that.
Could that be Desmond? We're not gone for a draw yet.
No, we haven't.
Desmond?
Yeah, let's do one. I can't see it though.
We're back, lads. We're back in the title race, I'm telling you.
I don't think Tottenham are winning that game on Sunday. That's one thing I don't think Tottenham are winning.
Draw 1-1. That's
I think Newcastle have got something in them, so I think we go
legs,
draw.
Counter-attack.
1-1.
Yeah, go on.
1-1. Now we're into the community questions, and it's going to be a nice start. What's the biggest sacrifice you made as a player? I'll start with that.
Go on then.
So when I left school when I was 16, I never spoke to any of my friends from school
Wow.
ever again.
Wow.
Weird, a bad decision really, and I look back now, it's terrible, but do you know something? I got it in my head that
Is that a sacrifice or that you just being a prick?
I go with that, Jay. You know what you done there, Gal? You just jumped straight into. I have to let people go. 'Cause I'm focused on this.
I just thought if I don't put everything into this, right, I'll regret it. I knew that they would go out and have a good time. I knew they'd started off like dance at discos at the time, and the Manchester music scene had started. And with James sit down in pubs. My leaving do at school was in a pub. And we were all sat on the floor, sit down, and James, and there was like drinks and alcohol, and it scared me to death, and I thought, you know something, I've got to get out of this.
What were they like?
They were good lads.
No, what I mean is like... no, a year or two later, were they like...
No, honestly, it was just one of them, I just thought, right, I've just literally got to just focus completely. I never went out, never did anything for 4 years, just literally, boom. 3, 4, honestly. I don't know if it's a sacrifice.
What about Phil? What's the Ralph?
I always feel about it as a harsh decision, but Phil did something similar. I think we just literally thought and it was a tough one, really.
Wow.
I don't feel great about it.
Did you see them on the move every now and then when you're going through?
Sometimes, like, see one maybe 10 years ago, you might, and so I remember from school, oh, hey, mate, you're all right, and just...
I think the one that comes to me is, I'd probably do the same again, is in 2002, I got a knee operation. So basically, I played with like a bit of a dodgy knee for probably most of a season. And the World Cup was at the end of the season in 2002, I think it was in Japan. And it was, a lot of players I think probably would have said, I'm getting the operation now, so I'm okay for the World Cup. And there was no guarantee I would have gone, if I'm being totally honest. And I was like, no, I need to get this operation to make sure I'm fit for the first day of pre-season for Liverpool. So I sort of played with it. And the day Zidane scored that volley at Hampden,
Yes.
that's the day I got my operation in America with Stedman, and basically was back for pre-season. So my sacrifice was basically not trying to get myself right for a World Cup, to make sure I was right for Liverpool to start with. But I don't know if I class it as a sacrifice, but I think most players would have probably...
You would have been aiming for
a World Cup.
Yeah, I'd have aimed for the World Cup.
But I was just obsessed with Liverpool. England was never really the biggest, the be-all and end-all for me, so...
Wonder why we didn't win it.
Sacrifices, I suppose, missing family functions and weddings and stuff like this when you were a player. Even for me as when I went up to live in Dublin when I was 17, 18, there were big commitments to move up there and move away from my family in Cork just to go on this course to become hopefully a player. So yeah, I think we've all made sacrifices along the way, yeah.
You know what, I probably think it's the FA Cup final, against Sheffield, Wednesday. And that season, my ankle was done. And I remember George Graham used to always say, and to be honest, I look back now, would I change it? I don't think I would have, but George Graham would always say, would you take an injection for the final? And, you know what I mean, I probably did. And I remember when that particular final, I remember the season was done, my ankle was finished. I had to come off the bus. George Graham said, you know when you come into the Wembley, if you're on that dressing room where you could come off and go, you have to kind of go round the bus, or you could get off the bus and you go straight into that dressing room. And it's just fortunate that we had to go into that dressing because I was literally limped off the bus. So then I had to take the injections, 3 injections into my right ankle. And we drew the game, and I had to do the whole thing again on the Thursday for the replay. And I remember Gary Lewin he didn't want me to do it. He said, this is going to cost you. This will cost you latter stages of your ankle, honestly. And to be honest, this will cost you. And so I took it anyway. You know, obviously we won it in the end. But then that was the beginning of, obviously my ankle's fused now, but that was the beginning of having to have injections on a regular basis and Voltarol for literally the rest of.
I was on Voltarol for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
you
for
were.
The rest of it,
You all were.
But like now, obviously, I sacrificed my ankle for that.
Who would you have rather played under, Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola? I mean, I've answered this before, and I've said Jurgen Klopp. Purely for the football, I suppose his personality and character. But the football for me is just. It's the style of football I like. It's the speed.
His personality is something that I can...
Yeah, Klopp for me.
I'd say Pep.
Especially after last night.
I can see you under Pep.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah.
Where would you play under Pep?
That's sitting midfielder.
You'd be there, yeah.
I'd be that sitting midfielder. Obviously, Pep used to play himself. Yeah. I think I'd enjoy working under Pep. I think Klopp is obviously brilliant, great personality for the game. You can see why players love playing for him, but maybe I'd just sneak for Pep.
Yeah. Who has been the Premier League flop of the season so far?
Oh.
Difficult, isn't it, these ones?
Refs.
Have we got options?
Refs?
I go with the refs, to be honest. I'm not digging out people calling someone flop, Gaz. Who wrote that?
Not a flop, but players can...
Players are going through difficult spells.
Yeah,
who's disappointed?
Well, say that then.
Well, listen,
who's been the biggest disappointment in the Premier League this season?
I'd say... I'd probably look at the 2 goalkeepers, probably at United and Arsenal. They have been poor, haven't they? They've come in as big sort of, they're going to move on from sort of Ramsdale, Man United's going to move on from De Gea. And it's almost stayed the same or gone backwards, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
I think it's a good shout, that one.
Yeah. The United has been a big problem, Nick. I think that it was the right decision for De Gea to go. Definitely. I think... Honestly, I've obviously been critical, but then you're thinking to bring somebody else in and then for him to struggle.
Start so badly, unfortunately for him.
Did you ever share the dressing room with anyone you didn't like?
Yeah.
Come on, Wright, tell us your story.
What's it? Jim Cannon. When I got into the Palace squad, he was just a bit of cantankerous old player, man.
Who was it?
Jim Cannon, Scottish player, centre half, and he made my first couple of years in professional football a fucking nightmare, man. It was just like he was a bully in there. When you go for the communal food, and listen, man, I'm literally 3 months off the building site, man. I don't know what's going on. Sitting and eating with everybody. I hardly even knew what to order properly. So I remember when I was ordered, he would take the fucking piss out of everything that I'd do. You can't afford that. Do you have that at home? How'd you say that? Do you know how to say this? Like Dauphinois and stuff at the time, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing that made me stop going down. And I remember Steve Coppell would say to me, I didn't go down when we went away twice. Steve Coppell he saw me the next day and said, where was you? I said, I didn't feel well on both occasions. Didn't feel well, so I didn't want to come down. And then he said, listen, you have to come down. Then I told him what happened, and he said he was going to have a word with him. Didn't really do anything, because he got rid of him the next season. But off of the back of that, I was always, in a communal setting, always really, just...
scared?
Yeah. Just very nervous about it. Never left me that. It's never left me. Obviously, I learned to read a lot better since then, but, it was something where, I'd be nervous about going away.
Football and dressing rooms can be tough, some bloody idiots around.
But knowing your character, did you not... I couldn't imagine, obviously, know you now, but you as a young lad, do you not go back at him? I'd have expected that from you.
Because it was he was the most experienced player there. It was professional. This is my whole dream. It's happening. I'm still floating on air. I'm a professional footballer at 22. Just made it. And so this is the main senior guy in the dressing room. I was kind of scared. I was scared of him. I was scared of him because one time in training, I remember we used to have those small-sided games. I don't want to go on too long, but like, I might as well tell you why it's fucking in my head. And, you know, he used to be, the goals would be this wide, right? Because you just have to...
Yeah, small little goals.
You know the small goals, because you ain't got the goalkeepers. And he would stand in the goal. So you'd have to do something to try, and he wouldn't. And so he's spoiling the game because you can't score the goal. So there's a couple of times where I've done a move on him and then put it through the legs and it went in the goal. And I've done it twice. I remember the second time, I remember the lads were going, yeah, hey. And as I turned around, fucking 2 foot jumped me in the back. He was as bad as it gets in the dressing room.
Well, that's a sobering place to finish, Righty.
But that just happened.
No, but you know what it's about?
It's
There's
happened,
a lot of footballers out there. We've been lucky. There's a lot of great lads out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
But there's some pricks as well, isn't there?
Fucking hell. So people don't realise how gruesome a dressing room can be.
Exactly.
With the wrong person in there.
Yeah.
That's me, bro.
I don't think we can beat that, to be honest with you, Brett Wright. It's a difficult to hear story.
It's an experience, it's a life experience, bro.
Well done.
You got through it. You got
Okay, well done, everyone. Thank you so much to Righty, to Roy and to Carragher for another week of Stick to Football brought to you by Sky Bet. Please subscribe and I hope you're enjoying it.